So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chavar Henry. I'm the student representative to the Board of Trustees of the University of the District of Columbia, and I will be hosting the town hall today. This town hall was a joint effort between myself and the Graduate Student Government Association, the Government Association, and the Community College Student Government Association. Um, I kindly ask everyone on the call to mute your mics so we can have a very smooth show. The proceedings will be as such. I will be asking questions that students have submitted over the course of last week. At the end of my questions, I will be taking questions from the chat. So if it is that you have a question and you're online, please put it in the chat box. We will be asking a question at the end of first part of the show. We have several members of the university's administration. We have President Mason here. We have Dr. Lawrence Potter, he's the Chief Academic Officer. We have Dr. William Latham, the Vice President of Student Development and Success. We have the Assistant Vice President of Student Development and Success, Dr. Letitia Williams. We have Naila Williams from Financial Aid. We have Dr. Jared Moffett from Current Services. We have Chip Cooper from the Registrar's Office. Peters from the College Student Success. Hatchett from Student Success. We have Mr. William Hacker from Academic Affairs for the Community College. And we have Mr. Quentin Beasley. Now, before I just into asking
people don't have their mics muted.
Right.
Yeah, can we ask everybody to mute their mics, Chavar, please?
There are some people's mics I cannot control, so I need you to go in manually and mute your microphone. Even if you think your background is quiet and it's not, there's a lot of feedback going on.
asking everyone kindly to mute microphones.
I'm going to go down the list of the ones that I cannot mute. Elena Sander, if you're on the line, please mute your mic. It looks like you have two profiles open. Either hang up on one and leave the other one muted. I have a couple of callers. Chavar Henry. If I'm mispronouncing your name, please mute your microphone. This is Chavar Henry. Emily Osborne, please mute your mic. Frank Edwards, Gomez, and Guillaume Antanga, please mute your mic. Okay, I think we're good. If those people I announced, if you could go ahead and mute your microphone. You'll see a couple of people. Okay, there we go.
Mary Roberts, could you mute your mic, please? All right, it sounds like we have All right, so we will be proceeding by asking Mason for an opening statement to open the proceedings.
Thank you for inviting me, Trustee Henry. I just want to say one more time that people really should mute their mics. A lot of people on the call. Mr. Roberts, look like you have two profiles on. You need to move one of them. Just looking at the list here. Kathi, could you mute your mic? And Gomez, can you mute your mic? Edwards, can you mute your mic? Emily Osborne. And Andrew Morton, can you mute your mic? Having said that, how's everyone today? I hope you're doing well. Whoever that is, mute your mic. Under these difficult circumstances, we sent out a communication last week, I think it was, explaining how we plan to open in the fall. Generally speaking, it's a 2-week delay. Is most of the facilities closed except in special circumstances. We will have specific lab classes. Melinda, try muting your mic. You're not talking. I don't know if need to be. Okay, good. And labs will be, certain labs will be scheduled on campus. Most people will be teleworking, and
Mr. President. Ms. Hodge, if you can mute your microphone. If I'm muting people, please do not unmute.
So if someone, this is Dr. Williams, if someone has a computer on as well as their phone, it's likely to cause feedback. You need to choose one way to be in the meeting.
yeah, Dorothy, you're on twice, I see. Well, yeah, you're on twice, Dorothy Fair.
And I just muted your second profile, Dr. Fair.
Kathy David. All right, let me try to get through it. Ms. Hodge. Okay, let's try again. And so we'll be opening 2 weeks late. Most of the facilities will be closed. We'll have specially scheduled classes with a minimum number of students in each class, socially distanced. Everyone on campus will have to wear a mask. Most people will be teleworking. On any given day, we will have less than 100 faculty and less than 100 staff and less than 100 faculty and students on campus.
So probably the was cannot mute some people. So we're asking, so asking again that you mute mic. Ms. Jennings, if they can't mute their mics, can you remove them?
Yes, I can move people to the lobby. I'm sorry to remove people to the lobby.
Okay, thank you.
But if I am muting mics, do not unmute yourself. Just let it rock. But if your mic is not muted, I'm going to move you to the lobby. You'll have to get the notes at the end of the meeting.
Could you remove Miss Mary Roberts or one of her mics?
I think it was Kelly.
All right.
I think we're good.
Okay, so the next is President Mason, please.
Okay. I'm assuming most people heard what I've said already. And the long and the short of it is that we will be open in the fall, 2 weeks late, 2 weeks delayed start. We have pivoted to more of an online, technically it's an emergency remote delivery mode. There will be some campus activity, but it's by appointment only. Everyone will have to wear a mask. And at any given point in time, no more than 100 staff and 100 students and faculty will be on campus. There will be more details coming out, but that's the generalities of it. We will be having pretty detailed schedules worked out for each of the labs and campus activities. We're still working our way through the online workforce certification courses, but you'll be hearing about that as well. So I'll just stop there and say thank you for putting this together, Trustee Henry. And we wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to answer any questions people have. I think you want the questions in the chat box because if people start opening up mic, that'll be hard to manage, okay? So thank you. I'm going to go off camera and listen and respond.
All right, thank you so much, President Mason. That we mute our mics so we can go straight into the procedure of asking the questions. If you don't mute your mic, you will be removed. And please, if you have a question, please put it in the chat box. We will get to them at the end of the session. There's no reason for you to unmute yourself. So I'm going to go into the questions now. First question is for Mason. The question is, are we going fully remote or hybrid for classes?
And so, Trustee Henry, this is Dr. Potter, the Chief Academic Officer. And let me answer that question by saying that the university has a combination of delivery modes. As President Mason mentioned, we are in emergency remote instruction, which provides a combination of some face-to-face. Those are restricted courses, labs, and instruction that is required by accreditors to be face-to-face in the labs, appropriately physically distanced. And then there will be at least 90% of our offerings in a remote or virtual delivery mode, similarly to the spring semester. So that's what everyone should anticipate. The only change from the spring semester will be those courses that accreditors have indicated must be face-to-face in a hands-on or simulation experience.
Thank you, Dr. Potter. The next question is, will there be testing for COVID-19 on campus? President Mason?
Not testing. What will happen is anyone that wants to come to campus will have to answer a questionnaire. And the questionnaire is designed to see whether or not you have any symptoms or have been around anybody with symptoms. If you answer the questions, any question in the affirmative, you'll get a sort of a stop sign on your phone. These questions will be administered through LiveSafe, which is our online communication software. But you have to take this questionnaire before you can, if you want to get on campus. We won't be doing the temperature check because there's just no, it doesn't tell you much, because you can be asymptomatic and still carrying the virus. And so we expect people will be answering the questions honestly, but there will be monitors on campus. And if someone starts to exhibit the symptoms or feels sick, then there's a process in place for that as well. I think that answers the question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. My next question is for Dr. Potter. Will the library be open for students to utilize computers and Wi-Fi?
So Trustee Henry, we are working through right now a plan for the library to be open. As President Mason indicated, it will be an appointment system only. The library will not accommodate people simply walking into the space. It will have to be reserved, and the instructions for the appointment reservation structure will be shared in a future communication early August.
Let me supplement that if I can, Trustee. We are also looking at renovating the 6th floor of the 4250 Connecticut building as a safe learning, a low health risk learning space where there will be individual pods with desktops and digital projection rooms for faculty to be able to project classes from there. And that's for people who have connectivity or device issues. And that'll be a low health risk learning space. And when students need to use those kinds of facilities, it'll be some mix, I think, between that and the library. But our goal is to open up as few buildings as possible.
Right. Thank you. My next question is, are tutoring sessions available for students during online classes?
And so as
Dr.
we
Potter.
did with the spring, Trustee Henry, there will be in the College of Arts and Sciences, there will be with our community college, there will be with our School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, the same level of support services that were provided during the spring semester. I think students need to keep in mind that as we begin courses on September 8th, there will require some time to get student workers up and ready to go with those tutorials. And so to the question, yes, there will be tutoring services delivered online as we offered in the spring. There will be pretty discrete instructions around what courses, what times that supplemental support, instructional support will be provided. And outside of the College of Arts and Sciences, the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, and the university's community college, there will probably also be online tutorials and supplemental instruction provided by the student development and success area. And I'll ask that Dr. Hatchett speak to those services.
Good afternoon, Trustee. We'll let Dr. Latham respond. Thank you, Dr. President.
Well, either one. I just wanted to. I didn't see you were there.
Yeah, I can jump in. There's no problem. That's Dr. Latham. So as is indicated from Dr. Potter's perspective, we will be providing similar services that we normally provide through our tutorial services, which is the Student Achievement Center. Will provide math, science, and writing instruction for our students. Students will use EAB Navigate platform to engage and communicate with students concerning their appointments and availability. They also will have the WebEx platform as well as Blackboard to conduct the tutoring session. So similar to the services we provided in the spring, they will continue through the Student Achievement Center. Again, for math, science, and writing, and again, be able to use Navigate as the EAB platform to schedule appointments with those particular tutors.
Thank you, Dr. Latham. The next question is, how safe will we be on campus, given that some of us will be visiting the campus once in a while? President Macy, could you speak to the COVID-19 safety measures that will be put in place?
You will be as safe as possible and probably safer than any other campus in the DMV. We are limiting access. All access will be social distanced. We will have screenings by questionnaire and by visual sight. The campus will be marked directionally so that everybody will be traveling in one direction with one entrance and one exit to the campus. I think that's where we're going to end up. And because we're not going to have a large number of people on campus at the same time, it'll be as safe as possible. But, you know, this is a virus, and we can't guarantee that, you know, somebody will not have the virus or catch the virus. But we think we've taken every precaution possible to make sure that the health and safety of our students, faculty, and staff is our primary consideration.
Thank you. Will the health center be open in the fall?
It will.
Okay. My next question is to Dr. Latham. I'm asking you kindly to speak on what will be happening for housing. If you want to refer to Mr. Beasley, you can do so.
So thank you, trustee. So housing will be operational for the fall, but it will be a reduced number of students due to COVID, obviously. We will have just 2 students per apartment unit for this fall. So there will be 66 spaces available for students this fall. An application process is underway, and it's a first come, first served basis. The students will also have to, you know, we're asking all students to really sign a social contract around COVID and COVID protocols so they can understand the cleaning process, understand CDC guidelines, understand that we're asking them to obviously be very, very cautious in terms of their uses of each other's space and be mindful of mask wearing in common areas and so forth. So we're asking also, we're also going to provide a residential kind of packaging kit for them as well as display signs throughout the apartments regarding sanitizing your hands, washing your hands, face coverings required in common areas again, and making sure students are fully aware of the protocols, as I mentioned, that we're going to adhere to for all students in housing going forward for this fall.
Thank you. And to follow up that question, students need to know how students will be selected, given that there will be less space. So students want to know what the selection process will be like.
It's the same as it has been before. It's an application process, trustee, through the Office of Residence Life and Quentin Beasley, and you apply through that process and that portal. It's a first come, first served basis.
Thank you. The next question is, will there be any changes to the grading system fall? I think Dr. Potter will be able to answer that question.
No, there are no anticipated changes to grading in the fall. As we are in emergency remote instruction, which is essentially a continuation of what we were able to do in the spring. Students seem to have used the system very well that is in place, and there is no intended change for our grading.
Thank you. Dr. Latham, could you speak on the charges and fees that will be on student accounts in the fall? So will there be any reduction in fees? Will there be any refunding of fees?
So there will be, trustee, there will be the same refund that we provided for the spring and summer. So no athletics fee and no student center fee for the fall.
Right. Thank you. Dr. Latham, another question. How is the university working to improve their responsiveness to the concerns of the students?
So as you may recall, trustee, from the spring semester, we established a student hotline, which we have again reissued that particular information out over the next couple of weeks to make sure students are aware of that prior to the fall semester. That is monitored daily by a staff member at the community college, and she provides weekly reports to Dr. Hatchett, who then provides them to myself, so we can monitor those particular requests and circumstances that come through the hotline. Certainly, we are always responsive to, through our advisors as well, academic advisors, who receive a lot of feedback from students on a regular basis regarding concerns they also have. So we use those two mechanisms as well as navigate the platform itself to give and receive feedback from students directly. And we respond and make sure they get a response within 24 to 48 hours.
Thank you. A question for Potter. When will we know which classes will require us to come to campus in person?
So we're finalizing a master schedule right now, and we will work with the registrar's office to have posted by August 17th those courses that are listed. And please also note that faculty members who will be teaching courses on campus as required will be communicating through our academic continuity process in Blackboard. And so all of our courses were just uploaded in Blackboard today. Students are not able to see those courses. They should be able to see their registrations by August the 17th. And so at that particular time, everyone will know what courses will be on campus and if in fact a student has a section of the course that will meet in a face-to-face module.
A question for Dr. Latham or Mr. Hatchett. How will advising be done in the fall?
So I'll jump in and let Tim follow up if I miss anything, Tim. We, of course, pivoted to virtual advising in the spring. Trustee, as you are aware, through the EAB platform again, had all virtual sessions being held by academic advisors on both campuses. They were able to schedule and host those particular advising sessions virtually via Navigate. That process went reasonably well. We had some good feedback from students around advisors being able to be flexible and be able to schedule appointments clearly through that process, which worked out extremely well for both students and staff. That process will continue for the fall as well. So they will be a similar process they've already used and utilized in the spring semester for the fall semester. So that process with juniors and seniors, maybe freshmen and sophomores, will continue that way through those particular academic advising units, both at the community college and Van Ness campus.
And I just want to jump in and add to that. This is Dr. Hatchett. We will be putting out a new list of published, all of the academic advising team now have UDC issued cell phones. So we're putting together a published list of their cell phone numbers, their office hours that we to structure for the fall, so that when they send that information out, students will know that the students, what times they're available and what times they actually have to schedule lunches. So we can kind of keep the structure that we typically had since spring moving into the fall. We're just trying to streamline it a little bit better. Also this fall, the students will now have access to what was called Navigate, which is called ACT. You guys will be able to schedule your appointments and interact with the academic advisors and advisors as well. And for upperclassmen, you can still contact us. What we do, we reach out on your behalf. If you don't know who your faculty advisor or need to establish contact, we can kind of assist you in navigating that path as well and getting you to your faculty advisor as well.
Thank you. A question for President Mason. Will there be any change to the tuition for the fall?
Not tuition, but we charge tuition and fees. And so as they've said before, there will be some adjustment in fees like the student center, the athletic fee. We're studying the fee structure now but I doubt that we'll be able to make any adjustments, permanent adjustments by the fall. The other thing is that I see online somebody's asking about out-of-state fees. You know, those not an out-of-state fee, it's an out-of-state tuition charge. You know, because we are primarily a university for district residents are charged one price, residents are charged a different price, and international students and students outside of the DMV are charged a different price. That has nothing to do with fees, those are just prices based on our institutional structure and the way that we're funded by the District of Columbia. But even that is under study. We can't adjust any of that right now, though.
Thanks, President Mason.
Sure.
A question for Dr. Latham. Could you speak on the assistance that has been offered to students for COVID, and tell us if assistance is still available?
Say the last part, Dr. Trustee Henry.
Could you explain the assistance that has been offered to students and if assistance is still available?
So absolutely. So we did exercise the CARES disbursement to students back in May and June, right before the semester concluded. And so we sent out applications to students to apply for the CARES funding directly. So we had over 1,300 applications be processed at that particular time, $800,000 distributed to students in that first tranche. We've gone out since then and distributed another 150 or so thousand over the last month or so. We even provide students who are not eligible under Title IV because of the CARES Act requirement, $500,000 in available funding for those students to apply for that particular funding. So again, we're not Title IV students. And we started that about a month ago and have distributed about $60,000 or $70,000 of that money as well. So we have done both for CARES and non-CARES eligible students. And again, that CARES money will continue in the fall as well.
Thank you, Dr. Latham. A question for President Mason. How will the mental health counseling center operate in the fall?
Much the same way as it did in the spring. You know that one of the challenges with this COVID virus is mental well-being and spiritual well-being. And so we have the UDC Spirit page, which I hope everyone is participating in. There's something on there for everybody. And we did that specifically to keep the family together while we work our way through this. We have telecounseling, so the counseling center is there, and they can be contacted if people need to talk to someone. That's students, and then we have there's also a program for staff and faculty as well. And we really encourage people to use it. We have the hotline for students, which is on udc.edu. I want people to know that there's a lot of information there. And they should go to udc.edu at myudc and check it out often and call that hotline if they don't know how to get a hold of whatever service they need. Okay.
Thank you, President Mason. Another question. A lot of students rely on housing, UDC housing for their semesters, and seeing that there will be less rooms available, less apartments available. Is UDC looking into those who might be affected, given that there will be less space? President Mason.
Well, the truth is, we will have about half as many apartments available for the fall as we did last spring. And we didn't have that many available to begin with, as you all know, because we don't have funding to build housing for the campus yet. We're working on that. The best we're going to be able to, but we also think that demand will be less we will not be having an athletics program, and a lot of the units were reserved for athletes. But because we'll be spreading out, instead of having 4 per unit, we'll only have 2. We have less units. And so it is going to be on a first come, first served basis. There will be some available, but not many, because the ones that are there and couldn't leave for the spring or summer are going to have first priority. So having said all of that, I think the best that we're going to be able to do is work with students to try to help identify other housing out in the market, and also work with the district. I saw that there were some homeless students on the chat line, and do the best we can to help them find services and opportunities that we cannot offer on campus. It's just the reality of the situation. And you know, when students have issues, if they bring it to our attention, we'll do the best we can to help them resolve their issue.
Thank you, President Mason. Another question for you, President Mason. Will student workers be working remotely for the fall?
Some will and some won't. We want to use student workers as these monitors who will help folks know and follow the rules when they come to campus. And so we'll be having a training program where they'll be highly trained with certain, specific uniforms and stationed in and around campus to make sure that the protocols that are in place are being followed. In addition to that, there will be opportunities to work online as well. But it's our expectation that every student worker who had a job in the spring will also have a job in the fall.
Thank you. Could you do an overview, Mr. President Mason, of the facilities that will be open in the fall? A general overview.
Well, we're not quite sure yet, but we know that, for example, the 6th floor of 4250, which is Connecticut Avenue. We know the lab spaces in 32 and 42, and some of the laboratory spaces in 44. 41 is my expectation will not have any activity in there. There'll be very little activity in terms of students in building 38. Only the nursing labs and respiratory, let me say it this way. We'd like to put as much of the community college activity into Old Congress Heights as possible. But there is a possibility that some of the nursing work will have to be done in 801. I see Dr. Potter has shown his face. I'm thinking he wants to add to what I just said.
No, I would just add the respiratory therapy and the nursing programs at 801. The laboratory components will in fact be there. All other courses offered at the community college, if there is in fact a hands-on component, it will be offered in a different location, primarily Congress Heights, Old Congress Heights. Dean Hamilton has worked extraordinarily hard with the team to have as many of the course offerings at the community college in remote and virtual learning. And so for the most part, building 44 labs, 42 labs, and there will be other clinics that will need to be addressed in terms of some of their hands-on experience, but that seems to be about it.
Thank you, Dr. Potter. We'll turn over to the chat box where there's been a lot of activity. I'm not sure if Ms. Jennings wants to go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So first question, how do new students register for SOAR and classes? Dr. Hatchett, SOAR, I believe that's orientation. If someone wants to speak to orientation and then someone speaking to how to register, is registration still open and the method for that?
Melinda, so for new, I can speak to registration. SOAR, there's something forthcoming for SOAR for new students. We're still working that out. I know that we're working to put together a virtual SOAR. So we are definitely in the process of doing that the next week or so. So information will be coming out to all prospective new students regarding SOAR. In the interim, new students will be getting contacted, will be getting information from their advisors. Advisors will begin reaching out to all new students who have confirmed their enrollment for the fall semester to actually schedule those initial conversations. To actually schedule those conversations.
Hold on one second. Doctor. Name on. I'm trying. If you just came on, mute your mic. Okay, Dr. Hatchett, I think you're good to go.
Okay. As I was saying, the advisors are in the stages of proactively reaching out to all new students to have an initial conversation regarding a registration and course advisement for the fall semester.
Thank you. Can I see Ms. Williams, Ms. Naila Williams is on the line. Can you let students know how to get in contact with financial aid, whether it's the email address or a particular phone number, and elaborate on the response rate for any financial aid questions?
Sure. So this is Naila Williams. When we had to transition to remote assistance, the phone number updated from 274-5060 to 274-5157. At this time, the best way to reach the office is email. If you call, you can leave a message and you'll get a return call, or you can email us, which is the fastest way to get a response. And I'll put that in the chat so you all have the phone number as well as the email address.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. And please remember to give our offices at least 48 hours to respond. I've seen some correspondence where students wanted an immediate response. Please understand we're all working from home. We are not on campus, and it takes some time to get through all of the correspondence we get through throughout the day. So please be patient. Okay, so we're going back to academic affairs. Since the semester will be delayed 2 weeks, will the semester be 2 weeks shorter? And this is a question directed to students and faculty so they can adjust their syllabi. So Dr. Potter, I know you talk about it.
I'll respond to that, Ms. Jennings. The semester is delayed for specific programs. Classes for most of the students will begin on September 8th. That affords us still sufficient time to meet the quality measures as mandated by middle states. We have adjusted the midterm schedule, and we have adjusted the final schedule for completers. Our law school students will be starting at their regularly appointed time in August. Our graduate students in the MBA and the Masters in Public Administration programs will be starting their regular week sessions in August. Our 7-week graduate education programs will be starting their regular schedule in August. And then there are a handful of community college courses that are 7-week courses that are fully virtual remote that will start in August. And all of this information will be communicated on the website for academic continuity. For the most of the campus, most students enrolled, at least 90% of them, the delayed start on September 8th will still allow for all of the necessary class meetings. Deans have this information, department chairs have this information. There are a handful of courses on Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday that will require an asynchronous learning session, and faculty will have all of that information, and it's laid out in a calendar format for them. So the semester will not be shortened by 2 weeks. The committee, the Focus Forward Task Force, looked at this. There was Mr. Henry, who represented the student body, and Dr. Arlene King-Berry, who represented the Faculty Senate. So they are very well aware of these processes, and it will all be laid out on the website, both in visual form as well as text form.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Potter. This is about the aviation program. Can we get some information on how that program is expected to run, since it is a hands-on course? The aviation students have not heard anything for months, and they haven't finished the spring semester yet.
So yeah, I will respond to that as well. I want to kind of correct the record. Dean Marilyn Hamilton has been in contact with aviation students weekly. And so every Friday there is a communication. I do know that she will be holding a virtual town hall meeting with those 20 or so students who absolutely need to complete the program. They are correct. It is highly hands-on. Dean Hamilton has provided a schedule to have students in the spring semester to complete. Those students who are part of that 20 or so students should be engaged tomorrow in that virtual town hall. In that virtual town hall, Dean Hamilton will lay out very specifically the dates, the times, and the schedules. The program will be broken into 2 segments, 10 and 10, to ensure socially and physical distancing appropriately, such that the students from the spring semester will be able to complete the course, and they should be a part of the virtual town hall tomorrow. But we have given serious consideration and intent behind their completion. I've approved that particular recommendation from the dean and the faculty, and those students in the spring semester will be permitted to complete in a socially safe environmental offering.
Perfect. Thank you so much. This is a catch-all for housing. There's still questions in the chat about housing. So housing will be at a first-come, first-served basis. Housing will be limited with only two residents per room. If I missed anything, Quentin or Dr. Latham, please summarize that one more time so we don't have to keep answering housing questions.
Hey, Melinda, this is Dr. Latham. That's going to be 2 per apartment unit, not 2 per unit,
right?
Room, 2 per apartment. So, but again, first come, first served basis. Again, social distancing, masks required in common areas, and then they will have to sign a social contract regarding the protocols expected for them as they reside in those particular units going forward.
Thank you. The cashier's office, will the cashier's office be opened? Probably not, but how are students to pay for their semester? Especially since we did run into some students who do not have bank accounts. So I know there's options to pay online, but how are students expected to settle their bills for the semester, summer and fall?
Okay, this is, hello? Yes, this is David Garnett, student count.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, currently the cashier's office operates Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 2. I don't know exactly what the plans are for the fall. I would believe that it'd be something similar. Right now, we're trying to make arrangements so that they can be there every day for some period of time, but we haven't worked out the logistics of that.
This is Troy Stovall. David, I just talked to Tim today. I think the plan is to maintain the Tuesday, Thursdays into the fall.
Okay.
So the cashier's office will be open Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 2. So
Correct.
you cannot pay online. You could go to campus during those scheduled times to pay your bill.
That's a correct statement.
Okay. Is there going to be a standard remote platform? During the spring, it was a nightmare. Each class required a different platform, for example, WebEx, Zoom, etc. So will faculty be, will they have to pick one platform or stick with it? What is the university doing about that?
And so I'll respond to that question, Ms. Jennings. This is Dr. Potter, Chief Academic Officer. I think the fall semester will present itself in a better fashion than our spring semester. Our faculty, as well as our students, were away on spring break. COVID hit the United States and the world, and so faculty had to pivot very quickly. And they did, for the most part, a pretty good job at being able to complete students. And that doesn't suggest that everything was perfect. I will say that as we move into our fall semester, a majority of our faculty, both full-time equivalent as well as our adjuncts, have been a part of the online teaching certification program that has been provided by our Center for the Advancement of Learning. In fact, we have a number of faculty enrolled in that online teaching certification this very month of July, and those sections will be continued throughout the month of August for new faculty, for new adjunct, and for returning faculty as part of their professional development offerings. I think everyone needs to know that the official learning management system for the university is Blackboard, and within Blackboard, students are able to post assignments, receive assignments. There is opportunity for both synchronous and asynchronous learning. Students' grades can be posted there. Tests and quizzes can be posted there, as well as attendance. Having said that, as part of our expanding work with the faculty, our Office of Information Systems and Management across the spring, the latter part of the spring and all throughout the summer, began to implement WebEx Teams. And so a number of faculty have been trained on WebEx teaching. Some of our faculty will be trained on Microsoft Teams teaching, and faculty will have a range of options. It just won't be Blackboard Collaborate. And one of the things that we feel very good about is that many of our faculty are stepping up to the plate to understand. We have a range of technical support in the backdrop to be able to support the faculty who are using WebEx. So for example, our workforce development students were all face-to-face, which meant that none of those programs could complete for their spring semester. Over the course of the spring and summer, all of the faculty who are teaching in our workforce development have been training up, skilling up with WebEx, as well as Microsoft Teams. And so they will be using a WebEx platform largely to deliver their instruction. And we have moved the content primarily for workforce development into an online module, just as we have with the rest of the campus, so that those students will have the opportunity to complete their certifications as well. And so to the question, the majority of the faculty will probably use Blackboard because that is the official learning management system. But some faculty will probably use a range of offerings, that is Blackboard, WebEx, as well as MS Teams and teaching. And so all of those are accepted by the university, and it is our hope that faculty will be trained and able to offer whatever platform that they choose to use.
Great, thank you. There was a question about the Silent Book Program. Dr. Latham, can you provide an update to everybody about that? I believe we're opting out of it in general, but can you speak to the Silent Book Program? Textbook program, excuse me.
Yes, we are launching the Fall All Access program in the fall, Melinda, as you mentioned, for students to have access to their textbooks on the first day of class through the Follett program. So that program has already been in the works with academic affairs, student development over the last 2 months. You'll find a communications coming out over that in the next couple of weeks as well, to allow students to further understand that process, along with FAQs for that process as well, around that opt-out process there. But that program is specifically allowing our students to have a lower cost for their books on the first day of class, which is something we've been talking about for a while, to be able to give our students opportunity to be more successful in the classroom by having their materials first day. And so that process is underway now with book adoptions from the academic affairs side of the house, from faculty, to make sure that Follett and the bookstore, UDC bookstore, are linked up to make sure those resources are online, are available for our students directly. So again, there'll be FAQs, communications coming out regarding that program over the next couple of weeks. But we feel it's a value add for our students because it actually lowers their cost per semester for text over the past, when they had to purchase them outright on their own. So that is basically an overview of the Fall Access program.
Thank you.
William, while you're talking about it, somebody online is asking if they can opt out of it. I don't think that is an option, but can you answer that question?
There's a timeline for that, President Mason. From that perspective, I have to ask Naila if she recalls what that timeline is as of yet, but I asked her to jump in and give me that background and context for that.
But at the general, yes, students can opt in and out or opt out of the program, but there is a timeline of when they can opt in and out.
Yeah.
So based on our current calendar, it looks like the opt-out date will be the day after Ad Drop. Ad Drop is scheduled for the September the 14th, so the deadline to opt out will be the 15th. And we'll send out instructions as well as a link where students can opt out. It'll be very similar to the opt-out process for health insurance.
Right.
And so, but just for clarity, this program is less expensive and more timely in terms of getting books to students. And so we're not encouraging them to opt out because they need the books, right?
Correct. It's a benefit. It's shown to be a benefit for other universities who provide it for their students directly. Yeah.
That's okay.
Thank you. So to summarize, you can opt out. The last day to opt out is September 15th. There's going to be correspondence sent about the Follett book program and information on how to opt out if you choose to, but it is a benefit, so try not to opt out unless you absolutely have to. Will computers or internet be provided to students who do not have technology and Wi-Fi at home?
I can take a crack at that, and then others can fill in. We have put together a deal to buy tablets for all incoming freshmen, all incoming first-year students. The connectivity issue is something that is possible to be worked out with Comcast, because they're offering a program where folks can get free Wi-Fi, I think, for 2 months, and then after that, it's $9.95 a month. The fallback for us is we will have availability of computers on campus on a scheduled basis. You can make an appointment to come to campus and use the computers there. And so if people have these problems, they should let us know, and we will find a way to work with them so that they can successfully engage in learning this semester.
Okay, thank you. Will additional cleaning and sanitation supplies be available for those at the UDC campuses? So I know we talked about masks.
Troy can answer that one, yeah.
So you say additional cleaning. So you said supplies. That's the word supplies what threw me.
Yeah.
So,
I think they're referring to maybe hand sanitizer stations or
yes.
You know, a lot more cleaning as opposed to the regular cleaning schedule.
Okay, so yeah, two different parts of that question. So so thank you. Again, I'm sorry, this is Troy Stovall, the Chief Operating Officer. So yes, so on the cleaning schedule, I think it's Dr. Potter talked about earlier, we're working with his office to lay out the actual schedule of the classes. And after we lay that down, we'll be able to, in each of those classes, we're trying to make sure we have ample time to go into those spaces and clean them prior to the next section or whatever the next class is in those labs or in the small case of classrooms that we'll be using. So yes, we'll be doing that. And we actually have a whole prep that we're doing prior to opening the buildings, that we're preparing the buildings, both the staff space as well as the academic spaces. And yes, you're correct. We're also in strategic places going to have sanitation stations and wipes available for individuals. And we will also have, as you enter in the buildings, we are also, obviously you have to bring a mask, but if you do not have a mask, we'll have masks available.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, this is about classes. This is about how do we know what classes be on campus. Dr. Potter said that they are still reviewing the scheduling, and they'll let you all know which classes will be on campus or what students need to report on campus and who and which students do not. So be patient and wait for that correspondence. The next question is about fees. Again, we will not be charging a student center fee or the athletic fee this year, but the rest of the fees will be charged as assigned. Housing, will the semester end at the same time as last year? The student is comparing that GW is ending their semester at Thanksgiving. Well, are we expected to continue throughout December after the calendar has been modified?
So yes, the semester will be ending the week before December 20th. I think our last active date for exams is around the 19th of December. And so because we have a delayed start, we are ending the semester to meet our accreditation standards and our quality time. Many institutions have opted to end around Thanksgiving. That's largely because they're planning to bring more students on campus. And the reality is that we are limiting students who will be on our campuses at the university. And so what applies to George Washington and GW does not necessarily apply to the University of the District of Columbia in terms of its academic schedule.
Agreed, thank you. Dr. Hatchett, can you let students know one more time how they could get in touch with their advisor about their classes?
Are these continuing students or are new students?
Let's just do both.
For continuing students, you would contact your advisor from the same advisor you had last semester. However, what I will do, I will put my email address in the chat momentarily. So if you don't know who that is, we can get you to that proper person. For new students, we're asking you to please hold on. We will begin reaching out to you within the next probably week or so to actually schedule you for your advising session so we can select classes for the fall. We'll be doing proactive reach out for new students. Continuing students can reach out to us continuously and start contacting us. But for any student that wishes to reach us, I'm going to put my email in the chat. You can send me an email, and what I will do, I will navigate or I'll navigate your question to the appropriate person so we can get you a response and get someone for you to meet with as soon as possible.
Perfect, thank you. And Tim, one more time, when is the last day to register for fall classes?
I need Naila, can I get a little help on that one? I don't have the date top of my head. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
What is the last day to register for fall classes?
So the last day of late registration is going to be September the 14th. So that is the very last day that students may register or add a class.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Garnett, if you're still on the line, the student is saying that TMS is no longer part of UDC. How can they do their payment plans for the fall?
I'm still here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
TMS is in name is not available. We have the TMS was brought up by a company called Nelnet. We're in the process of finalizing the last piece of documentation we get to them so that they can be online. Prayerfully and hopefully by the end of this week, first of next week, payment plans will be available to students. Big communication will be going out from Nelnet to all the students. They have all the student information to contact them. So prayerfully, like I said, at the end of this week or early next week, they will be getting correspondence from the new company and be able to sign up.
Yeah, David, what is TMS?
TMS is it was a company called Tuition Management Services that offered a deferred payment option for the students. They would do a $35 enrollment fee and a percentage of their payment, down payment toward their tuition and fees, and then make incremental payments throughout the semester. Usually,
I see. And do they charge them interest?
No, no interest charge. It's a $35 enrollment.
I see. Okay, thank you. That's a new one over. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Garnett. Mr. Beasley or Dr. Latham, can you tell us when housing deposits are due?
Sure. Housing deposits will be due when students get their confirmation email. It will have all the directions on there how to pay your deposit, and everything will be answered through that email. The housing deposit is $150 and it is due at the time that's in the email. I mean, I'll give about a week or so for that to be done.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Jennings, if I may, this is Chavar Henry. There's a burning question in the chat.
Okay.
Someone wants to know why is it a requirement for international students to pay for an internship class when they are participating in CPT for the summer? Dr. Potter.
So, Trustee Henry, I will say that those standards and requirements are set by the Department of Homeland Security. The university does not set requirements for OPT and CPT. If international students are here during the summer or off a regular cycle for internships, the Department of Homeland Security is pretty clear that students need to be registered for an academic course. And so the university follows the Department of Homeland Security's regulations. It's part of our I-17 reporting.
Thank you, Dr. Potter. This question is for counseling and wellness. There are a couple questions about ADA accommodations and how is the university going to provide provisions for special needs students, such as hearing impaired or other special needs? Or it could be for Dr. Latham as well.
So Melinda, those students would reach out directly to the Accessibility Resource Center, ARC, to email that particular ARC center, again, Accessibility Resource Center, to set up an appointment with those counselors directly to make sure those accommodations are reviewed and certainly sent back to their particular faculty member, as well as for interpreting services if those accommodations are needed for that particular student as well. So that's a direct email to the ARC center. And I'll ask, I think Avetta White's on the call to put that email in the chat. Avetta, if you would do that for me, Dr. White, I'd appreciate that. That's a direct.
Yes. Yeah, Dr. Williams, Mr. Wood put it out already. He just put it on the chat. Mr. Wood
Okay.
did. All right.
All right, great, thank you.
Yes, thank you both. Someone asked about student life, how would that work? So the elected student leaders and the clubs organizations will be tasked with providing virtual offerings along with maybe a very few hybrid offerings for student life. So we'll still have a robust and active student life program at UDC despite COVID. Next question is insurance. Will insurance be required if we are out of state and have insurance in our state So if you already have insurance, there will be correspondence coming out about how to waive the health insurance so it's not on your bill. So be on the lookout for that via my UDC in your email. Naila, if I'm missing anything about the health insurance, please feel free to fill in the gaps. Okay. What do you do if you brought your summer balance under $1,000 and student accounts are unable to reinstate you in your classes? That's a very specific question. So I want to ask this student to actually email directly to Mr. Garnett, and I'll put his email address in the chat so he could get you taken care of. Can we reiterate what's going on with the library? What arrangements are being made to provide recorded library for all online classes and other activities, or the library schedule?
And so, as I mentioned earlier, Ms. Jennings, in the next few weeks, with the academic announcements for return to work and reopening, the library schedule and process will be announced in that communication. It will not be a standing open library. It will be an appointment only process, and it will have limited hours. So pretty much what we started out doing in the spring semester, being sure that we are providing the support for students who may not have equipment or connectivity to complete their work as much as possible, but it will be on an appointment only schedule, and the details and instructions will be a part of a broader communication.
Okay, thank you. This question again is about fees. Dr. Latham, can you give a breakdown on the amounts of the fees if possible? The question that's posed is saying the amount for fees that were refunded to us for the summer, such as athletics, parking, etc., were not accurate to what we were actually charged. If I'm not mistaken, the refund was $250 when the total for these fees are close to $450. So Dr. Latham, you get a breakdown of how much the athletic fee is, student center and parking fee, what amount was supposed to go back to students.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up in a second. We'll have to put that in the actual chat for that particular student, Melinda. But yeah, so we'll do it that way, okay?
Okay, so that answer will be in the chat.
This is Chavar. A question from a student. They're asking, how is UDC working on their advising system so that students are on the correct path to graduate? There are many concerns about that. Dr. Hatchett?
So when we're talking about on path to graduate, I know that we students automatically, currently now we have our degree work system, which I know that we're in the process of looking to do some work on to get it updated for all of the degree plans that we have outlaid for students. But it's really a conversation that the student has got to have with an advisor, whether it's faculty and or professional staff, that we've got to go through those. We have degree sheets and degree mappings. I know it takes time to do that, but they've got to make sure that we have those sessions where we actually go through those mappings one-on-one to make sure that we have the courses that are applicable, that are applied to the program so the students can stay on track and move out. One of the things we're getting to, the university has been proactive in doing is in our Navigate system, we actually have, we're working to get the success marker series launched where we can look at courses to make sure students are hitting those success markers in their programs to make sure they're progressing on track, make sure they're taking the courses that's going to help them be successful to graduate on time. So it is a working process, but what I'm asking all students to do, you've got to please meet with your program, your faculty advisor, your academic advisor, your program chair, so we can actually sit down and make sure we do the course mapping for you to make sure the courses are applied. And you're not taking anything additional. If the advisor recommends that you take a course, please take the course that they're outlining. Because what we're finding is that students are saying, you know, I've taken multiple courses and this course that doesn't apply. When we go back and do the audit, all of the courses are applicable to their program. So we want to make sure that students understand their programs and understand the mapping process so that we can make sure that they have taken the courses as what they need so they can graduate on time.
Thank you, Dr. Hatchett. I know we touched on this earlier about tuition, but there are a number of questions in the chat concerning out-of-state tuition and being remote. Will there be any changes made to students who are paying out-of-state tuition to a lower, I guess, payment scale?
I'll take a stab at that, Ms. Jennings, and then anyone else can chime in. And I mean, we are always considering the tuition at the institution And fortunately, the university is the most affordable in the DMV region. And we have not made any decision about a change in tuition because courses are in emergency remote instruction mode. That is an external variable that is beyond our control. The virus is the virus. As we've looked at consortial institutions like GW, Howard, Trinity, Georgetown, none of the institutions are making tuition decisions based on a course being emergency remote or online. In fact, GW, Howard, and Georgetown all charge the exact same tuition for their online degree programs as well as their face-to-face programs. And so we've not made any decision because we are in an emergency remote instruction posture to change our tuition because we believe very strongly in the product and the value of the instruction that is provided.
Thank you, Dr. Potter. Quickly, if I may, Ms. Jennings, there is a grave concern regarding customer service. During these times, students often complain about not being able to get through to whether it's student accounts or financial aid. And many of our student leaders have had to facilitate getting students in touch with persons from these departments. So can President Mason or Dr. Latham speak to the customer service issue that students constantly complain about? Is something being done about that?
Are you saying it's worse than it was when we were on campus? Because we got complaints on campus as well.
Yes.
It is worse, I see. Well, then we need to know we need to hear the complaints because working remotely should not lower the quality of service, especially since many of the complaints were because of not answering phone calls and things like that. And so we just need to know about it. We all have email addresses, and when someone doesn't do what they're supposed to do, we need to be told so that we can follow up and try to make sure it doesn't happen to us.
So to follow up on that question, you as the president, you reply to emails often. Dr. Potter replies to emails often. I get a lot of emails. I reply to them very often. However, when all the numbers that are presented to them for financial aid or student accounts, or they email these offices, either they don't get a reply at all, or the answer, or the phone lines aren't being answered sometimes. So I just want to see if we are improving on that, because it is a constant complaint.
Well, I'm told that we're improving, but what do I know? I'm the president. Half the stuff that goes on never really gets to me, right? We've transferred the central number, that is the central switchboard answerer, to communications in hopes that that will help in better communications. We've heard the concerns about financial aid and admissions and so forth, but we've done things to try to help fix that problem. And from where I sit, I have a sense that it's getting better. We have we have a lot of new people working in those offices. We have a new person running those offices. We have outside companies helping us with the workload. They're hardworking people and they have a lot to process. But unless I'm misreading it, the bad service is becoming more the exception and less the rule. But again, if there are specific complaints, we'd like to know about it so we can deal with it. you know, we're doing what we can to get better every day. And you know, on paper, it looks like we're doing all the right things in the right ways. But if that's not working, we need to know about it.
President Mason, this is Nyla Williams. I just wanted to chime in for a moment if I can.
Go ahead, Naila. This is
Right.
the head of enrollment management.
Okay, so what I wanted to add is we do not have the same phone system that we had when we were on campus, and that's something we're working on. So when you all do call in, the way the system is designed is rolling to a single cell phone. So you do have to be patient, wait for a call back. That's why we're recommending at this time that you go ahead and email. We're in a process of upgrading the phone system, which will basically allow us to have that call center model remotely. We don't have that, unfortunately, in our homes. We do document. I get a daily report of how many calls have come in, how many emails have been answered, and all those are documented. So the calls are coming during peak periods. There are several hundred calls at least per day. So we do ask for your continued patience. And you know, when you call, definitely go ahead and leave a voicemail message or send that email and just wait for a reply back. Each office also has a supervisor. So the director of financial aid is Wayne Montgomery, and I'm gonna ask him to put his information in the chat. I'm currently overseeing the Office of Admission. The registrar is Tiffany Cooper. So just so you all know that each office does have a supervisor. So if you're not getting the responses or a timely response, reach out to that supervisor so they can check out the situation and see what's going on and get back to you timely as well. So I just wanted to add that.
And President Mason, this is David Garnett, Student Council. It's pretty much the same. I don't have a supervisory structure. It's one single supervisor, Student Council, and that's me. My email address is in the chat. We have a similar process of the calls that come in. Our calls are not forwarded to a single cell phone number, so we actually have to call into the office and get the voice messages and return most of them the next day. But if there's not responsiveness in either one of those areas, you can call me directly. I'll put my cell phone number in the chat, and you can email me with the email address that's in the chat also. But in terms of our view, we make a concerted effort to try to satisfy the students and try to take into consideration their needs. But you know, we think that we're improving, but constructive criticism is always welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, when are these technology issues going to be fixed?
So for enrollment services, we're obtaining a package called Amazon Connect. So we'll allow all the team members to answer the phones as well as transfer calls remotely through their computers. So that's in process.
Yeah, but do you know when it's going to get done?
We're hoping.
So let me jump in. Let me jump in on that, Naila. So this is Dr. Latham again. So we're expediting that to purchasing now in terms of that process of the purchase requisition going in last week, and then working with Mary Ann Harris on that, President Mason. So we can expedite that process there to get that Amazon phone system in place as quickly as possible. So yeah, we are doing that. And again, just as Chavar, we're asking you to certainly email, have the students email Naila or Wayne directly or myself to let us know of any issues they may have directly in terms of response time. As the president mentioned, we've been working hard to get better over that process over the last few months. We want to make sure that we get that corrected and we address any issue that any student may have regarding response time from any area within enrollment services.
But moral of the story is email should be the mode of conversation.
Thank you.
More than telephone.
I will, and this is a note for the students. I will follow up to ensure that the customer service issues that we're facing are actually solved. I will follow up with Dr. Latham and the president. Over to Melinda.
Thank you. So in the interest of time, we're about 5 minutes before our end time for this town hall. We will be reviewing the chat to answer questions or to try to do a summary of everything we mentioned in today's meeting. I will do one more question. This is for the registrar's office. I see Ms. Pugh and Ms. Oyuyo on the line. Can you please tell our students how they are to apply for graduation for December 2020 and how to obtain transcripts if needed? And this will be the last question, and then Chavar is going to wrap up.
Tiffany Cooper. I'm here on the line as well, the registrar.
Sorry, hey Tiffany, I didn't see you on the thing.
It's okay, no problem. So students can apply to graduate online when they log into their MyUDC portal and go in through the self-service. Or if they have any issues, just send an email to Office of the Registrar at udc.edu. And the second question was
transcripts.
Transcripts. So if students need to request transcripts, you should go out to the National Student Clearinghouse to submit those requests. The link to it, you can find it on the registrar's page on through udc.edu and go to the registrar. It's on a drop down from the registrar's heading. And once the student submits the request online, they have to be mailed out. We do not have the electronic transcript software to submit them or to provide them to students electronically currently. So they do still have to be mailed. If there's an urgent matter or if student needs it quickly, we can provide a PDF unofficial copy while they wait for the official in the interim.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you for that. I see in the chat students are requesting another town hall. If it's okay with cabinet and administration, we will try to schedule one next month, especially since we'll be gearing up to open September 8th. There is also a request to see a recording of this meeting. Once it is available, I will send it through our communications team and to President Mason. The chat will also be available, and we're going to go through the chat and draft up a comprehensive document to address a lot of the things that were mentioned here today. So I'm going to turn over to Chavar to take us out, and thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Jennings. So there are a lot of emails in the chat, and those emails are for certain departments that you can email and get answers about a lot of issues. So for financial aid, for student accounts, the president's email is there. I'm seeing a link to transcript requests. So there's a lot of information in the chat box. So please go over there and scroll if you have some time. Now, to thank each and every student for coming out today. I also want to thank the organizations that made this possible: the Undergraduate Student Government Association, the Graduate Student Government Association, and the Coming to College Student Government Association. I want to thank administration. Mr. President, thank you so much for answering our questions today. Dr. Potter and everyone else on the call. So I will turn over to Ms. Katie Rosales to give us some information.
So hi students, so my name is Kate Rosales. I'm your USGA secretary. Just piggyback on what Chavar had said, thank you to the administration for coming out and to students for taking time to ask questions and concerns to the reopening in the fall. Piggybacking to what Ms. Jennings was saying, a summary will be sent to you along with the transcript and recording of the town hall. If you were late or if you missed the question, it might have been answered. And also in the chat box, we'll leave the contact information for the Board of Trustees, USGA president, CCSGA president, and GSGA president, and you could contact them with your concerns and they will answer it or redirect you to someone who can answer your question. But again, thank you to everyone for attending the town hall. And with that being said, that's a conclusion for today's town hall.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye-bye. Thank you. I'll leave this up a bit so people can scroll through the chat, then I'm going to end the meeting in about 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you so much. There's so much going on. You can't remember all this stuff that you're trying to do. Remember. Oh, they were asking questions about that. Hmm. It's still going to be online the same way that it was. It's not going to be in face to face. I'm sorry with all this stuff going on. You know, I got a little distracted before you got text me. I mean, message me because I got memo. We need to get memos. Style this computer stuff back and forth. But I got, I think Franklin, you know, Franklin, the guy that works for, so guy that works with that great hair Franklin. I got an email that his son Damon had died. Yeah, he died, must have died this morning or yesterday. And I'm saying, you know, people have so many other things that's going on than that, you know, you having this, doing this, having this. And everybody going to be good. You're going to be good from the stress. And I've known that it was actually a stepson that he kind of raised him. I know his son. I knew his son before I knew him because his wife, his wife used to work with me at the university. His wife used to work with us before they got married. And like Damon, I used to take him to Hershey Park, all that stuff. Yeah, when he was a kid. And he was saying he had surgery on his stomach. And he was growing well, so he was recovering well. I said he was vaccine and stuff. And so on. Pain, I got so bad. And what's going on? And I didn't think anyway. This is something, it's just something that I get started. Damon, I don't even think forward. That kind of put me off track again. Because I think I was it's something